So a little over 2 months ago, I made a video talking about Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. And in that video, I wasn't the most energetic about the game. From the gameplay footage that we received, from the gameplay itself, and how a lot of things about the game just didn't feel all that great, alright? Now, don't get me wrong, I don't really care about the game's graphics necessarily, but it's everything else around the game that I have an issue with. Now, for this video, instead of me just rambling about certain points that I have, I'm going to be reading this article from Game Rant titled Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact Needs to Make Its Voice Heard. And that is a very interesting title because another point that comes up with Hunter x Hunter is the fact that it doesn't have real marketing. Like, the marketing is almost non-existent for this game. And so I want to dive into this article, and we'll see what this article says about Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. So, this opening section kind of goes over everything we already knew about Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. It's a 3v3 2D fighting game by Aiding, the fighting game powerhouse responsible for Bloody Roar, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, DNF Duel, and plenty more. Now, out of those games that are listed, DNF Duel is the game that a lot of people will say was an absolute flop. Now, in some degrees, like, people are excited that Aiding is behind this game, but at the same time, Aiding has not proven reliable of making a really balanced game experience. Like, especially with DNF Duel, how it launched and how it had a lot of broken stuff behind it. That could say a lot for what Nen Impact could have in store. We already seen a lot of gameplay footage about Nen Impact and how it's a really I would argue it's a very overtuned game. But at the same time, who knows, maybe some stuff will get ironed out in the beginning or whatever. Down here it says Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact needs to advertise itself more. And it basically does go over things that we already seen. Like, we already know that the game has a $650,000 US budget. And the fact that it lacks that strong marketing, advertising, it screams low budget. People would, seeing Nen Impact's gameplay for the first time typically puts people off. And its empty backgrounds and rough models, especially compared to the gorgeous Dragon Ball and Naruto games Bandai Namco tends to publish. I can somewhat agree with that if it wasn't for, JJK Curse Clash, of course. Now, Curse Clash, the models don't look that bad. It's just like the animations and, like, I guess a lot of the environment doesn't look all that well. So, but compared to a lot of the other Dragon Ball games, compared to a lot of Naruto games, even Storm Connections, which is still a good looking game, it still has problems, of course, but it's still a good looking game. And then this one is I definitely agree with this, just on the title alone. Launching in 2024 is risky for Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. And it shows, obviously, why it's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. But I would argue, even if it was just Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, we also have Bleach Rebirth of Souls, which a lot of people are speculating could come out in early 2025. I don't know when in early 2025, but somewhere early 2025. And Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is set to launch in mid-October, of course. So, of course, they have to pick a window to where they're not overcome by the hype, but they're not so early that people are like, well, I'm not sure I want to buy this over, it's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which looks far better. The gameplay looks far better. Gameplay, what it is subjective, of course, because you have FGC people who say, no, Nen Impact is a real fighting game, while Sparking Zero is an arena fighter. But at the same time, Sparking Zero is Tenkaichi, and a lot of people love Tenkaichi, so, whether or not it's a competitive arena, or not, whether or not it's a competitive fighting game is kind of off the table if it's Tenkaichi, where people can just enjoy themselves and have fun, right? Because I think that's the simple point of this. Like, a lot of people, they don't care about what game it is. They just want to have fun in the game. I also like this little kind of sub point here. Like, even in its own genre, Nen Impact isn't safe. And of course, it's talking about Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, where it does feature Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It also talks about Project L or 2XKO that it's now referred to as, uh, potentially running open beta playtesting soon, which we don't know when that playtesting could be coming home. Could be coming. We just don't know too much about what Project L is going to do in the future, of course. But then it does say right here that Hunter x Hunter Net Impact is in a rough spot, but by playing smart and making some noise, could still win it the day. I'm not that sure about this. And from all I've read about this article, I definitely agree with a lot of the major points they do make. That Hunter x Hunter Net Impact, it does scream, like, obviously from this right here, advertising screams low budget. And that's what kind of makes Hunter x Hunter Net Impact very underwhelming. But even outside of like the marketing and the competition it's going to be facing, and a lot of like other factors, of course, what does Net Impact even bring to the table now? Because if you want a tag 3v3 fighting game, you have Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. If you want a high fidelity, good looking anime game, just go buy Sparking Zero and enjoy that. Or wait a little bit later down the line to potentially get Bleach Rebirth of Souls. So like, what is Net Impact actually bringing to the table that's actually interesting? Like, it's just bringing Hunter x Hunter characters. Out of all the games that we got coming out soon, like, we got Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, we got Sparking Zero coming out in October 2024. What does Net Impact actually bring to the table than just Hunter x Hunter? Like, this game, I would be lying if I said I wasn't underwhelmed about Hunter x Hunter Net Impact. Because generally at this point, I care more about the games that actually have things going for it than Hunter x Hunter right now. Games like Sparking Zero, games like Bleach Rebirth of Souls, games like 2XKO, like even some indie games have my attention, like Combo Devils, what is it called? Rivals 2, even an indie fighting game called, what is it? Shunzen, I think it's called. It's like a retro sprite-based like 2D fighting game. It looks really good, actually. So, what do I feel about Net Impact now? I kind of feel the same way as I did in the first video. I feel very underwhelmed and just disappointed, but at the same time, I don't hate the game. I think the game being $650,000 in terms of budget is actually really impressive, right? It's actually really impressive compared to a lot of the other fighting games we've seen that had like millions of dollars of budget. Like, I definitely have to give props that they were able to make a game like this, but at the same time, it's just like, you could have been a little more creative. You could have shown us something that actually makes this game stand out. Instead, it's just gonna feel like Marvel vs. Capcom with Hunter x Hunter characters. And if you want Marvel vs. Capcom, you have the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. And even if you want the Hunter x Hunter characters, you could probably just go buy Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and just mod them in. And I guarantee you in the future they're going to do that. The Marvel community might just mod in the Hunter x Hunter characters. And you can just play that game. But I don't know. I might be in the minority because, like, listen, I understand that people want this game to succeed. For the FGC people who just hate arena fighters, they want this game to succeed because they want more of this like format for anime games. And even if you're not part of the FGC or you don't have an opinion about the FGC and you're just an anime game fan who just like Dragon Ball FighterZ, for instance, and you want to see more of this, you kind of want this game to succeed. But at the same time, this game is just screaming that it's underwhelming. It doesn't seem like it's worth my asking dollar. And I don't even know what the asking dollar is yet. We still don't have a price on this game. But anyway, I might be in the minority here. But it feels like I'm just the only person calling out this kind of stuff. But at the same time, again, that's what it's like to be in the minority. But I do want to know what you guys thought think about all of this, what this article has to say? Do you agree with any of the points this article may say? I'll link it in the description below so you can read it yourself. I'm not sure if I'll get a better discussion that I had last time, because it was kind of a nothing burger discussion last time in the last video. But I do want to know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments down below. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.